I didn't know that at the time. I just saw this
everybody. Welcome to the annual town meeting this evening for Monday, the 16th of March. This has been live streamed, and also we have no planned fire alarm exercise tonight. So if your fire alarm does go off, please can you exit the way you came up to the chamber. Okay. Thank you. So tonight's meeting is not a normal full council meeting. This is a meeting just to give an update over the last almost year of this term of council. I'm going to have updates from the committee clerks, from our Wiltshire councillors, as well as some of our grant applicants. So if I can go on to item 2 first, which is to approve the minutes of the previous annual town meeting that was held on the 17th of March 2025. Do I have any comments, corrections? In which case, I'm happy to propose from here. Thank you, Reece. Seconding, all in favour? Thank you. So item 3 is the report of the town mayor. Change to my next screen. Okay, so since May 2025, it's been a real privilege to serve as Mayor of Melksham and to represent our town during what has been a busy and, on the whole, positive year. Over this period, Melksham Town Council has continued to focus on strengthening community life and bringing people together, particularly through our events, and create shared experiences and a strong sense of local pride. For me personally, one of the most meaningful events we supported was Through the Night. This was a glow-lit evening walk through the town centre, organised in partnership with my charity Fear Free, calling for safer streets, a safer world for women and girls. The event brought together people of all ages and genders, combining live music, creativity, and a positive atmosphere with a serious message of safety and equality. It was especially powerful to see our community come together so visibly in support of this cause. And I have to say, the reaction from people, even cars driving past, who waving out the windows, blowing their horns, it really was, I think, a very powerful message to the town. Early in the year, we marked VE Day with the commemorations that brought residents together to remember, reflect and recognise the sacrifices that shaped our shared history. These moments of remembrance continued to be an important part of our civic life. As the year went on, the Christmas light switch on once again proved to be a highlight of Melksham's calendar. It was wonderful to see residents of all ages enjoying the festive atmosphere, supporting local businesses and celebrating together. Events like this are only possible thanks to the dedication of volunteers, performers and council staff working closely together. This year has also seen my appointment of my mayoral cadet, who I'm incredibly proud of, Lance Corporal William Waters, who has accompanied me at civic events and represented the involvement of young people in public life. The mayoral cadet role is an important way of encouraging youth engagement and recognising the contribution that young people make to our community, and I've been proud to see that reflected throughout the year. Just last weekend, so Saturday just gone, we came together for the Mayor's Reception and Civic Awards, which provided a wonderful opportunity both to celebrate the achievements of individuals and volunteers who go above and beyond for Melksham, and to raise money for my 2 chosen charities, which are Above Air Ambulance and Fear Free. And I will say, well, we don't have any final figures yet. We delivered the event completely cost neutral. In fact, we are in the black just from ticket sales alone by £650, and that's before we even calculate the auction and the raffle. Some auction items were going for hundreds of pounds, so I am fully expecting to see if we return a fantastic amount of money from my 2 chosen charities. So thank you to everybody who came along to support it. It was a wonderful, wonderful evening. I think you'll all agree. We had a very good time. Alongside these events, the council has continued its wider work to support local causes, encourage volunteering and work partnerships to benefit Melksham. As Mayor, I've greatly valued the opportunity to meet so many individuals and groups whose commitment makes such a difference to our town. I was going to sit here and count out how many events I've been to in all different forms, but I didn't actually get around to doing that because there were quite a few. I would like to thank my fellow councillors, our officers and staff, community volunteers and residents for their continued engagement and support. Melksham remains a town with a strong sense of community, and it's been a pleasure to see that spirit reflected so clearly over the past year. So thank you to you all. Right, moving on. So item 4 is the chair of town council committees. I have 2 to read because I'm going to deliver Jenny's as well for community development. So if I move on to either Reece or Adrienne, if you want to please deliver yours, that would be lovely. If you want to go first.
You go first, you're ready.
When you come up front, you see a lot more people than when you look back from them. So one of the problems with having the room set up like this is you don't know who's sitting behind you. Anyway, good evening. I'm obviously Adrienne Westbrook and I chair the facilities committee, but it does change its name regularly, and there's a probability that it'll change its name again in May. So this year, the year from last May, as chair of facilities has certainly not been an easy one. When a new group takes over the leadership of a council, you're working with a budget that you haven't set and priorities from a different council. This makes the work far more challenging than perhaps it could be. The lack of infrastructure improvements in the last 4 years is only too evident. Children's play areas, King George V Park, Assembly Hall, council vehicles have just not been improved in the way that they should have been. Since May, we have tried to improve the look of the town by investing through the Wiltshire Towns programme, a scheme that was funded by the government. It wasn't easy when we realised, Councillor Hubbard will remember this, that the money in 23-24 hadn't been claimed, and we only had a few weeks to get the proposals in. That's why it was a bit rushed, because it was use it or lose it, and we were about to lose it. And that's £75,000, which we couldn't afford to lose. We were lucky. We have a fantastic Melksham resident who was used to writing these bids, and she came on board and looked at what the residents had requested from the town council, and we worked from there. The work has taken place over the last 6 months. The pop-up garden, due back in the summer. Thought it was going to go back last week, but hopefully, well, mind you, the weather hasn't been brilliant, has it? I think it's going back very soon. And I know how popular it was because we were actually at a meeting of some people from schools and during Democracy Week, and kids were really wanting to know where the benches were. So when we explained to them that we've been taken down for the winter, stored and going back again, the kids were actually very helpful. They were very pleased. So the work has been taking place over the last 6 months. A pop-up garden due back in the summer as well. The trees in the marketplace to add some shade and some much needed greening in that market area. These trees have an irrigation system so that during the summer they will be watered effectively. I look forward to seeing the green shoots emerge over the next month. The town bridge lights that are taking longer than like Fantastic thought because they were actually all seized up. But hopefully they will be ready very soon. The walkway, flowering cherry blossom trees in KGB. Notice I'm saying cherry blossom trees. They're not cherry trees. We don't have to worry about anything like that. They're cherry blossom trees. But if you walk along the bottom end, you will see that they've all taken and they all had watering bags put on them in the first stages so that they all took. And if you go down there now, you can see the actual buds beginning to come. And I hope that in a month's time, it's going to look absolutely spectacular. Our K6 telephone boxes are being refurbed. Those are the red telephone boxes. But funnily enough, I saw a television programme about that last week. I don't know if anybody else bought it or what they were doing with them, because they, our 3 were in a pretty bad way, but they've been removed. They're being refurbed and they're going to come back into the marketplace, and then there will be a community consultation about what we actually want to put in them. So many ideas. It's actually going to be very hard to choose what it is. Anyway, we've got resident surveys out at the moment for our play areas and to reset the priorities for KGV. I can't wait until we can bring the results of this to a meeting very soon and agree which of the 14 parks will be the first to be refurbed, because it's not just 3 or 4 we're doing. It's going to be hopefully 3 or 4 over the next 3 years, so that by the time that this council comes to an end, that the majority of parks will have been looked at and updated. Sorry, I've lost where I was. That's the trouble with stopping in the middle of what you've got written down. Um, however, oh, I know what it is. It's never great to put up council tax, never ever. And it's not something which we took lightly. Residents continually say to you that they want this work done. They want the parks refurbed. They don't want to have tatty children's play areas where they are. And so you can't continue to take this money out of your general reserves. Otherwise, your general reserves actually disappear. And you need them in your budget. Otherwise, it's a very poor way of managing money. Anyway, the other great thing that's happened since Christmas, it's been really good to talk to the new manager of the Assembly Hall, and he's sitting at the back there. And I didn't know you were going to be there, Robert, before I wrote this. Like so many other residents, yes, of course, we want to see the hall and the blue pool refurbed as a single unit. But the council must put some resources into this over the next year to improve the earning potential of the Assembly Hall. The bookings there for next year are looking good, but we must improve the customer experience for our punters. I really hope that we can turn the vision for Melksham into a reality. I want to be able to tell you that we are well on our target to fulfil our promises to the town. We now have a great group of officers who wish to deliver on our priorities. And I'm looking forward to next year. But I'm conscious it's going to be challenging, and we need to be scrupulously honest and transparent to the residents as we move forward.
Thank you very much. Sounds like we're going to be pure moment. There's a video being played. Thank you, Andrew. Reece, I'll hand over to you now.
Raise it and then we'll try and spend it. Good evening. So my name is Councillor Cleary. I'm the Chair of the Finance Committee. Over the past year, the Finance Administration and Performance Committee has continued to oversee the Council's financial governance, organisational performance and the responsible management of our public funds. The committee works closely with the Council officers to monitor expenditure, review financial process and support the development of the Council's annual budget. Through this work, we ensure that appropriate financial controls and governance arrangements remain in place so that the Council continues to operate in a transparent and accountable way. Alongside routine financial oversight, the committee has also been considering opportunities to strengthen the Council's longer-term financial planning. This includes reviewing the Council's investments approach, examining operational costs such as utilities, and identifying areas where efficiencies and better value for money may be achieved. The committee has also supported a number of projects relating to the maintenance and improvement of council assets, including works associated with the town hall, the splash pad, the town hall clock, town council vehicles, and improvements to the town's bridge lighting. Looking ahead, the committee will continue to focus on maintaining strong financial governance while ensuring the council's resources are used effectively to support services and improvements for the residents of Melksham.
Thank you very much, Reece. So you're going to hear quite a bit from me now. So I've got my committee in economic development and planning, and I will also be doing Councillor Jenny Westbrook's community development because she's currently on an aeroplane flying back from Australia. So I'll go with the economic. Have you got
Part 2 of the video.
Oh, part 3. There's part 2 of the video.
There's 4 parts.
4 parts. Oh, great.
Yes, so we put it interspersed with
Right, go on then.
Images. Sorry, I seem to have lost it. That's part 1 again.
Is
And this is part 2.
what's part 1 then?
Try part 3 and see. Part 2 of the time.
Yeah, same one.
No, this we just look at the same header.
Apparently we can also drop off here as well. That's really good news. So if you do have any digital tech that is not needed, please consider donating it. Right, moving on to the next committee, which is Economic Development and Planning. So since the last annual town meeting in March 2025, the Economic Development and Planning Committee has continued to deal with a significant varied workload. During this period, the committee has so far met on 17 occasions and considered over 80 planning applications, ensuring that our view is representative on a wide range of development proposals affecting Melksham. We have also considered 10 new local highways and footpath infrastructure group requests, which is really hard to say, reflecting ongoing issues around highways, footpaths and local transport infrastructure. The committee has received presentations recently on 2 major development proposals relating to Aldi and Gompels, and we are expecting to have conversations with Lidl as well at some point ongoing. All of these presentations have helped councillors better understand the scale and potential impact of these schemes. Alongside this, the committee considered a request for a new bus shelter and have, on the back of that, initiated a survey of our existing bus shelters to help inform on any future improvements. We've also looked at the provision of wayfinding signs aimed at improving navigation and accessibility around the town, and considered the potential extinguishment of a footpath, which has subsequently happened. We carefully reviewed the implications of that decision and are being a consultee. The committee also received a presentation from Fair Trade highlighting ethical trading and its relevance locally, and a presentation. In fact, we worked very closely with Melksham Without Parish Council on the joint neighbourhood plan, which has since gone to referendum and has been adopted, marking a significant milestone in shaping the future of our area. And I would like to place on record our thanks to Melksham Without Parish Council and Place Studios for the close partnership working collaboration that has made this possible. Overall, the committee's work this year has focused on managing growth, improving infrastructure and supporting informed planning consultation in the best interests of our town. Thank you.
Might be the same one again.
Thank you. So I will move on to the community development report from Councillor Jenny Westbrook. And she says, good evening, everyone. I'm currently sitting in an airport waiting to board a 23-hour flight home from Australia, which is why I've asked our brilliant mayor to read this for me. Sitting here has given me plenty of time to reflect. And as chair of community development, it reminded me just how proud I am to represent such a wonderful town. Community development is an area very close to my heart. Melksham has a truly thriving community, and in times of need, you only have to look at the outpouring of love and support to see the ties the people of our town have to one another. It's something special, and it's something we should all be incredibly proud of. This year, community development took over the responsibility of giving out grants, and what a privilege it's been to help support some of our wonderful local groups. From Age UK supporting older people, to the food bank helping vulnerable residents, to the Friends of Giffords who put on a wonderful Christmas lunch, clubs and charities across the town also doing such fantastic work, running activities, supporting people and strengthening our community in so many different ways. It really is inspiring to see. I'm also very much looking forward to the return of the red phone boxes and getting out into the community to ask what you'd like them to become. They're a great opportunity for something creative and useful for the town. She said, I'm still holding out hope that one of them might become a giant fish tank, although I suspect I may have a little persuading to do on that one. I spend a lot of time speaking to councillors and residents from towns outside of Melksham, and if there's one thing we are known for, it is our events. From events we support through grants like Carnival and the Food and River Festival, to the incredible events our team puts on, like Proms in the Park and the spectacular commemorations for the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War and VJ Day. And of course, there are the events we run in partnership with others. Makers Market, which seems to get better every single time, and the poignant and beautiful Remembrance Day, which we run alongside the Royal British Legion. I very much hope we can build an even stronger relationship as we look at how we can continue to honour and celebrate our veterans here in Melksham. But I have to finish on the event that really is the envy of the county, the Christmas light switch on. Thousands upon thousands of people line the street of our wonderful town to watch that slightly naughty Christmas tree switch on our fabulous lights. The team of volunteers who work for months to make it happen under the leadership of Paul Weymouth do an absolutely phenomenal job. I truly cannot thank you enough for creating such a spectacular display for the people of Melksham. In the upcoming year, we've got some lovely events in the making, summer programme in the park, the arts festival, more little one-off treats. Yeah, stay tuned. There is more to come, some very exciting news in the next few weeks. And as she said, because Melksham, we've got a real treat in store for you. So like, we've got this play ball.
Play.
Yeah, I think we might have to pause on that one. So what I will go on to now is item 5, which is the unitary councillors reports. So if I can ask, so we've got John's in the room, Phil is, Charlie is. Brixton, do you guys want to, who's going to go first?
To be honest with you, it's not too bad for me. It's about.
In case you know, this is Councillor Phil Orford. You say which ward you're from as well, Phil, that'd be helpful for people.
I do. Yeah, so about May last year, we had the local election, so I'm no longer a cabinet member. We do have a cabinet member in the room. Put up there and what's going on. But as a result, I'm no longer involved in the development over at Melksham House. So the old Melksham Library site, which I was quite keen pushing along there. So various updates on that, I'm sort of stepping back from that role, so I'm sure others will be able to help you out. We recently had a budget meeting, but you know, suffice to say, the budget's gone up by 5%, as it seems to do every year anyway. So obviously, there was a bit of to and fro over how much was going to be cut up in departments and various things and so on. But I mean, that's really a lengthy conversation, which we're not going to get into now. So essentially, I'm going to leave it there, and my colleagues who are on the administration crack on.
Did you have any ward updates, Phil?
No, not at the moment. Not really. Things have been a bit There are a few minor issues that sort of worked on that. Really, there's the issue of the Aldi application, which is still in the system. So we've
Okay, thank you. John or Charlie?
You go first. Sorry.
Yeah, Richard?
Oh, you go first and I'll follow.
Okay, good evening, everybody. John Peppard, I'm councillor for Melksham South. And since May, as Phil says, I've got the privilege of being the cabinet member for Children's Services, SEND, Education and Skills on Wiltshire Council, which is as big a job as it sounds. So some updates from what's going on Wiltshire Council. As Phil says, there was the budget meeting in end of February, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yes, end of February. Time just seems to all merge into one. As with most Wiltshire Council meetings over the years, it was an event of itself. But actually, 98% of the budget wasn't debated by either side, but there was 2% of changes that were wanted. And I'm pleased that the council did pass the budget. There's all sorts of problems if you don't. If you're not aware, one of the reasons why that's more of an issue than was Wiltshire Council does not have a majority control. So it's a minority administration running Wiltshire Council. So there's no guarantee. In the past, Wiltshire Councils have thumping majorities for the incumbent party. That's so it's, you know in advance what's going to happen. That is no longer the case, and it's far more adventurous when we venture into the chamber. But the budget did go through. Now, what I should give you an update on, which isn't in my remit, but is Wiltshire councillors will have emails recently about this, is the local plan. The local plan, of course, is the document that dictates about development, and our current core strategy that Wiltshire has will soon expire. And for about 3 years now, Wiltshire has been working on a new local plan, which would take over. Unfortunately, that local plan does not look like it's going to go through. We've heard back from the inspector that they are not minded to approve the local plan. There are a number of issues they're raising. The biggest one, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm sure all sorts of things will be thrown around by everybody as we get closer to it, because that seems to be the way of politics nowadays. But the reality of it is, between when we started as a council on the local plan and now, national government has almost doubled the housing targets for communities and what they need to build.
Basically,
Yeah.
change the rules.
Yeah. So the plan that was started 3 years ago was looking at, over its 10-year period, having to develop about 35,000 homes. We now need to develop around 75,000 homes in Wiltshire over the 10 years of the next plan. And basically, we're not the only ones who are just coming to get something through or having the book pulled out from under us and say, actually, no, you're going to have to do the full lot. So where does that leave us? Because I think it's an important thing that is changing. It does increase the risk of speculative development. Now, actually,
Open season on Melksham.
but we've had open season, but as you know, we've had open season for the last 2 or 3 years because we've not been able to meet this imaginary number the government has called a 5-year land supply, which, considering that every time you get close to it, they then say you need to build more. No one will ever build. I mean, I think we can actually all unite on the challenges of that. But we won't have a local plan to fall back on either. So it will just be back up to national policy and the NPPF. But of course, we do have the excellent neighbourhood plan that was developed in Melksham So we do have in Melksham some protection by that, but please don't be thinking that that's going to give us total protection from development, because the honest truth is it is.
But there's a number of test cases in the very nice.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. But we've seen already that the Secretary of State is running through a return the plans. And I think, so I want to be upfront and honest about that, because, you know, that is the biggest challenge, I think, as a community that we will be facing over the next few years. Timetable wise, it will take about 18 months between the full council meeting we have in May, when actually the formal decision is taken by Wiltshire Council about what we do over the local plan. If in May we say we are going to give up on the current local plan and start from scratch, it will then take about 18 months before we've got some form of protection from it again. The other option the council could do in May is say, no, we're going to plough on with this one and see what happens. But considering the inspectors already told us they won't approve it, then all they'll be doing is really delaying that fate and still having. So that's unfortunately the bad news that's on the agenda coming up in that respect.
This is just worth mentioning. Sorry to interrupt. Just when that's happened, assuming we get to some point where we go back out for a new review of the plan, we require Wiltshire to allocate homes for a further 35,000.
Yes.
35,000 homes down in the past without Melksham very unconstrained by some of our other developments. So, you know, we'll really keep pressure on saving.
Well, you know, let's
work on.
Let's take each day one at a time. And certainly one of the things I can tell you the policy of the current administration is, which is different to the policy of the previous administration, but I don't want to get into the ugly politics type stuff on this because I don't think it's helpful for anybody. But the current administration is very keen on looking at effectively creating 1 or 2 new towns in Wiltshire and doing the housing through that, rather than the current approach we have, which is donutting onto towns and parishes across the county, which just sees all this. And the problem we have with the donutting development, and we see it here in Melksham, is that you get a block of 800 homes or 400 homes or whatever coming on. None of them have proper infrastructure allowances on them. There's not enough of it to be able to say it justifies a new X or a new Y, and you just get uncontrolled growth. The advantage of if we turn to looking at having a new town of some description is that what you're actually doing is putting 20,000 homes into somewhere, and you have to build the infrastructure in from day one and as part of that. But it's such early days yet that it's not possible really to add more to that. Just one other thing, if I may, and then I'll just very one of the things that I was very proud of that I was able to introduce last year when I came into this role, and that we are doing again this year, was our free swimming offer for children who are qualified for our fuel programme or for free school meals and benefits related to free school meals. I am really delighted to say we are expanding that programme this year, and it will now be for every child who gets benefit related free school meals, not just secondary school kids. And it will be for all of the school holidays starting at Easter. So Easter, half term, summer, half term, and Christmas. Every child who gets benefit related free school meals in Wiltshire will be entitled to 1 free swimming session per week.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. That's really good news to hear that's coming back. So thank you for that update. That's great. Charlie.
Well, actually, some of that does overlap with my speech, so thank you very much. I'm glad I let you all go first now. I'm Councillor Charlie Stokes. I was elected in the elections as the Wiltshire Councillor from Melksham East, taking over from Councillor Mike Sankey. A lot of what I've been doing has been very focused on opportunities for children, young people. Part of that has been the fact that I'm the portfolio holder for SEND and more recently education and skills as well. recently, very, very recently, we've heard that the much delayed white papers come out. So that is now currently a big focus at Wiltshire Council, because obviously that there are some great things in it, say, such as support for children being in primary care settings, which is a big thing that the government have stated that they want to happen, which is great because Wiltshire Council had a big focus on that from the election, from the elections, and we understood that was actually quite an important focus that we should be having. So we were kind of already ahead of the curve on that one. So it's great to see that that has been supported by the government in general. And obviously, you know, there are challenges that will come with that for schools and our local schools as to how that support will you know, what that means for how the schools actually deliver that. And obviously Wiltshire Council will need to support and see how they can push that support with them. Obviously, with the white paper also came out was the government funding for local authorities. So we had a safety valve funding
Yes.
along with a dedicated skills grant. So our safety valve funding, which was used to help with special needs education, was going to become in excess of over £100 million. The government have agreed to wipe out 90% of that. Still leaves us with a deficit. So Wiltshire Council obviously are having to look at what the long-term and short-term impacts of that funding will be. We are, though, still one of the most underfunded authorities in nationally, unfortunately. So we rank 23rd on the list out of 100. On the bottom, sorry, on the bottom, from the bottom, sorry, of 156 schools. 151 schools, sorry. So obviously, you know, it's quite important that we still continue to push for fairer funding locally. And I know that Councillor Hubbard is working with the F40 campaigners nationally to help do that, so that Wiltshire Council get fairer funding. So for all our children.
A really important point that you made there, actually, John. So
No, go ahead, please.
The thing about the safety valve and the safety valve deficit that we inherited was nobody of Wiltshire's fault.
No.
It's all about the fact that the government has two numbers it works with. It has the number that it pays us to deliver education for SEND young people, and then it has the number it says that we need to spend. And unfortunately, the government dictates how much we need to spend, but tells us we need to spend more than we get. And that was a problem that the previous administration had. It's no fault of theirs. It's a problem that the current administration still has. The safety valve funding that's coming through, as Charlotte said, that we will get that, most of that recovered. And actually, I'll give tribute to our predecessors who did start a reserve that fund that. And because of that reserve, Wiltshire isn't going to be hard hit. But that agreement was until April this year. And we've got another 2 years under the current system where the government's unclear about what it's going to do over that funding. So it is still difficult. But when you hear us moan about the funding and what we get, let me just put it into context for you. If we received in Wiltshire the same funding per SEND child that they receive in Camden, who are the best funded council in the country, we would never have had a deficit with our existing spending. We would, in fact, have had a surplus with our existing spending. Such is the difference between what they get there and what we get in Wiltshire.
1,200 extra.
Yeah. And yes, they are in London, but even so, it's absurd, that difference. Sorry, but I just think that's really important to say that the difference is just absurd. It's 3 times what we get. 3 times.
Locally, a really good milestone that happened this year is the opening of Melksham House. So obviously that's providing an educational setting for children with social emotional and mental health needs. What's fantastic about it is it allows us to actually give much needed spaces to local children, so they're not having to travel miles to go and get the specialist provision that they need. So it's really great to have gone round and seen it. And they are doing fantastic work there, and just such a short space of time since they've been open. And you know, and so yeah, it's really great to now see what they're going to be doing going forward as well. So on the Melksham Area Board, I'm also leading efforts to re-establish a local youth network as well for Melksham. All right.
I've got a video, it's going to work there in a minute, so that's good.
So part of that's there's been ongoing conversations with youth committees and local organisations about, and there's been quite a lot of growing interest actually in them being part of this. It would be really great to re-establish that again. I know that both Melksham Town Council and Melksham Without Parish are really eager to be part of that too. So there are conversations going on about rebuilding the Lynn, and yeah, that would be really great in giving a lot of services back to the younger generation of town. In Melksham East, talking about the donutting, there's obviously, I took over from quite a lot of long-standing issues that Councillor Sankey unfortunately had. Having worked with him as a town councillor, it was great to be able to dive into those and know exactly where he's been with a lot of it. Some great progress. So I'm really pleased to announce that the Melksham East Community Centre has now progressed to being agreed to being built on the new Blackmore Farm site in Melksham East. So, it's on the border of Melksham East. It will be in Bower Hill, but it's a really great facility that will hopefully sort of strengthen our community, bring in some local services as well. That's very much needed. I've been working as well on safer pedestrian crossings in Melksham East for families, particularly linking up a lot of the estates. And I'm also currently still working with Forest and Sandridge School to try and find a suitable solution to the dangerous parking that's happening. Unfortunately, this year alone, there have been several incidents involving school children either being hit by a car or almost being hit by a car because of the parking there. I am working very closely with the school, so hopefully I'll have more of an update within the year for that. Going on, talking about how these building these sites have gone up. I'm working a lot with residents who've experienced quite significant difficulties with estate management companies. It's a massive issue in Melksham East. We've had some great successes actually with Green Square, especially in homes that have gone mouldy, and actually getting that sorted. Green Square are now starting to become more responsive to that. Unfortunately, still a lot of issues with First Port residents, but I work closely with those to try and resolve their issues. And talking of speculative planning, there was the Councillor Hubbard and Councillor Alford were talking about one of the big applications that's gone to the Secretary of State. I was alongside Councillor Nick Holder, Melksham Without Parish Council, Melksham Town Council, residents and other residential specialists. I was actually part of the tribunal on the appeal for the Snarton Farm, which is one of the big speculative planning application. That has gone to Secretary of State. It will be a really important decision he makes on this because it will actually affect local plans nationally, or neighbourhood plans, sorry, nationally. But it's actually really great to see a community come together to try and work together to stop that from happening. And, you know, regardless of what wards we were in, what parties we're from, working together really, you know, was so big for that day. So that's my updates.
Thanks, Charlie. Much appreciated. Andrew.
Okay. That's good. This may go into the
Lovely, thank you very much. Thank you for the input from our Wiltshire councillors as well, much appreciated. Moving on to item 6, which is the police report, and it's our chance to welcome Sergeant Chilton. This is your first visit?
For many years. I think I was here, I was a police officer, or PC covering the Lux area, so that was probably about 10 years ago. So I unfortunately don't have a proper report for you this evening. You do unfortunately just have to have an introduction by me. So for those of you that don't know, I know who does, I'm Sergeant Charlie Chilton, and I am the new Neighbourhood Policing Sergeant for Melksham and Bradford and Avon. I've been a police officer for about 17.5 years within Wiltshire, and I've worked within neighbourhood policing specifically for about 13 of those 17, mostly within the sort of the Trowbridge area, but I did cross over to Melksham for a short time many years ago. I've been the neighbourhood policing sergeant in Trowbridge for the last 5 years, and earlier this year I've returned from nearly a year off maternity leave, and I've had the pleasure of being moved across to Melksham and Bradford and Avon for a new challenge. So you're stuck with me now, unfortunately. Avon policing, as I said, I've done it for 13 of the last 17 years. It's something that I'm hugely passionate about. For me, obviously, all areas of policing are important. Please don't think I'm criticising any department within our organisation, but for me, I think it's the one place where we can truly make a difference. We have the opportunity to work within our communities and for our communities to really deal with the issues that affect our communities. And I think there is no within policing, but we have that same opportunity. Over in Trowbridge, I appreciate Melksham's slightly different, and this sort of the makeup of this Bradford and Avon. One of the big focuses that we had over there when I was there was working with our business community, tackling retail crime, dealing with our most prolific and persistent offenders. To many, shoplifting and retail crime is what is seen as a victim of crime, but that absolutely isn't the case. But it unfortunately feeds into things like drug and alcohol abuse, organised crime, and most commonly the antisocial behaviour within our communities. So I don't like blowing my own trumpet. I do a little bit. Usually in Trowbridge, certainly before I went on maternity leave last year, we had more criminal behaviour auditors in Trowbridge, so across Trowbridge, Melksham, Bradford and Avon, than the entire county put together. And all bar 2 of those were relating to retail crime. So they were targeting our most prolific and persistent offenders who were going in and causing absolute mayhem to our retail community. That has acted as a deterrent for a lot of them. They've moved out of the area or they've stopped offending, and for those who haven't, majority have ended up with custodial sentences, which gives our other partners obviously an opportunity to work in areas that we unfortunately can't. So I think that's about it. you'll hopefully see me. I'm doing a phased return at the moment, so certainly for the next couple of weeks, I'm only in sort of 3 days a week. But from the middle of next month, the EPs are really pleased that I will be just get to see me every day. And I'll be back full time. And I'll be back full time. So my email address as of tomorrow apparently will be on the Wiltshire Police website. Hayley has my contact details should anybody else need them. But yeah, feel free to drop me a message.
Fantastic. Welcome back. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 7, which is the open forum, questions from electors. Does anybody have anything they particularly would like to talk to us about or raise, or Graham?
Can I come along here? I've got something here to just sort of add. I'll try and take you a normal 3 minutes. Which I'm not sure if it's section 7, 8 or 9. So if I put it here in section 7,
7.
Then can I?
You 7 and 8, right?
They seem to overlap. But I'm here talking for the Melksham Transport User Group, which is the local transport user group, what you expect. We work with the West Wiltshire User Group, which is a wider area, and Travel Watch South West, which goes across the whole area. Travel and transport is one of those things where peculiarly the areas have to work that much more together, because people going from Melksham are going somewhere else and vice versa. This will be a year of great change at national level, great risk and great opportunity for public and sustainable transport across Melksham, Wiltshire and the UK. Our members distributed 700 timetables covering all 6 of our public transport operators. At the tail end of last year, 10 volunteers, 5 outlets, 8 days. I'm a statistician, can you tell? A further 300 by the TIC council officers of the library. Many recipients are delighted. I've had people walk up to Mill Swindon Station saying, hey, thank you for that timetable, that worked for us. And people saying, can I have one for my daughter? Can I do these things as well? All those good indications. We keep hearing from people on those things. We have learnt or confirmed how things work. And indeed, we have learnt back as well as giving people information. We're learning about what people want so that we can look ahead. A big thank you to Melksham Town Council and indeed Melksham Without for the grant which helps with the printing costs, and to our graphic artists and distributor volunteers who've done that for free. In fact, big thank you for the Mayor for coming along and supporting us at Leaks on that interesting morning before Christmas, where you really learn about what people want. Don't you? Also learn not to drop your papers on the floor. Right. Melksham Transport User Group has applied to Great Western under their Community and Customer Infrastructure Fund to open Wiltshire Council's building at the station as an information support and refreshment point, hopefully coming in a few months' time there. We will hear how we do on that funding in a few weeks' time. We do have plans B and plan C if that funding doesn't come through. And indeed, one of those plans there is a request to Melksham Town Council to help us in the first year for seeding, for setting up. It's called information at the station. We have a big prospectus here. And each time I listen to stuff going through, I say, yes, we will answer, we will help that. Melksham Station is a beautiful spot. I hope you're still sensing my sarcasm here. At the end of a very pretty and very safe feeling lane. Right. It doesn't feel particularly safe. It's difficult. You end up landing there and there are common questions. Where do I get a taxi? How do I get to this point here? How does the ticketing work? And all the rest of it. And that really puts people off. The station is at the end of the local cycling and walking infrastructure plans, Melksham Community Cycle Route number 1, and we want to be bringing people down to the station there. There is a bus stop at the station, which has the small club who has no bus service to it, which renders things a little bit difficult to use. But looking at all the stuff that's going on, I've got notes here, particularly notes with safety, particularly notes for all the stuff that's going on there. Probably having 2 people on there at a time. Community interest, I'm hearing the age concern, I'm hearing the lines, I'm hearing all the rest of it there. Couple of people working together, comradeship. It's good for the community, it's good for those volunteers as well. That gives us the ability to do the safety, and some of us are safety trained, picking up those, helping those people who are in emergency situations at the station. No, we hope that's on a daily basis, but that's the important thing and the important safety to pick up. We know things like, for example, that there are free rail tickets if you know where to go to people who are fleeing from domestic abuse. I don't know how many people are aware of that one.
No.
There's all sorts of things like this. We have a number of specialists and we can work and do things as a group. We had our meeting up at the campus the other last week, and you know, every seat was taken. Yeah, that's great. That's how it does. I'm not actually concerned. You're not going to find the volunteers. I'm not totally calling for them yet, simply because we don't want to light the fire before the station and everything is in place. But environment policies, safety policies, health and safety with food, all the rest of it there, all very much in place. Train services, do not expect to see any changes this summer, except for a Saturday through train to and from Weymouth, rather than terminating at Westbury and back. And I'm looking to be remarketing it. Believe it or not, this is a victory. Great Western have halved their Sunday service from Bristol to Paddington. They have removed trains at the peak time from Dilton Marsh, leaving about a 3-hour gap if you wanted to get back there from Salisbury, to a station with a catchment of 9,000 people. They've withdrawn stops from Cosham and various things like that. So this is one of those things where a victory is do nothing, is stand still. And we're working closely with them to keep that the case. We know we need more trains. We know it's currently a very thin service. That is the top priority for Network Rail on doing things with Great Western. But that is, we'd be lucky to see that completed within this council, frankly. The bus services, the new extra 273s on Saturday are doing very well. The more people who use buses, the less people on the road. It's not very many, but especially on a Saturday night, I would far rather people on the bus being driven by somebody else home than driving themselves home. I came back on the bus on Saturday evening, got in a couple of days ago, cram-packed, and that's the new improved service. There are other things as well. Noting all the planning going on, some of the section 106s, whether it's within the plan, whether it's without the plan or whatever, there's always the request in there, please may we have funding for a bus service. And a bus service that is sensibly frequent goes to the town, sure, but also to the station. And here is something really novel, at a time taking people to the station just before the train calls and away from the station just after the train calls. I get the bus from home on Saturday morning to the nearest stop to the station, which isn't very close, and a 40-minute wait for the train. That is not on, that is not a connection. But it will solve all the other things as well. It will take people from one of those new housing areas into the town, down to Pathfinder Way, down to the sports fields, down there, down to the business work area, and to the police station. So if the police want to call in thousands of people, you can do so. There'll be a bus coming to you. I'm hoping we don't have too many people requiring that service. And that's the basis of it. The big thing here is the customer and community support and getting stuff done at the station. We are probably putting out another one of these brochures in a few months' time because the timetables change in May. The one thing we can't do with the printed timetable is have it change dynamically like the online things can do. So it needs doing from time to time. People still like the printed timetable and everyone's saying, oh, can we have that? There's a couple of no's. No, sorry, we're not doing one for Corsham like we've been asked. Our volunteer resources are limited, and we're not doing one for Trowbridge either. If they're volunteers, they can do that there. It is working here. Really, thank you to the town council. Thank you for everything to do. We will carry on working very cooperatively with town council, with parish council, with everyone else. It's wonderful that Wiltshire Council have turned around, if you like, and moved from, no, you can't have that building, we want it, for, hey, let's work together on that building there, so their drivers can use the loos and things like that. We have the facility there, and it's very much a community and cooperative that's all going on.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Graham. Very interesting. Do I have anybody else under the open forum questions before I move on to the community groups? Want to update, Michelle?
I'm not, but I need to pick Austin up in like 8 minutes. So can I just please say our thank you so that I can run away without feeling guilty?
Do it.
Thank you very much. Because I'm going to feel guilty, you know. So yeah, I'm Michelle from Melksham Carnival, and we are one of your annual grant recipients. And just doing the maths today, I can put my hand on my heart and say we would not have functioned this year or going forward without the support of Melksham Town Council. The groups that participate with us are unbelievably varied, from different sports activities to war memorials from different towns. Like, we are dragging people in because Melksham is the carnival to be at these days. And we are proud of that. We have got it through our core like a stick of rock, seriously. We love our town and we love being able to represent you once a year. And we really hope that more people will continue to join us. Our books open on the 1st of April. Love to see a town council entry. Just saying, I know we're going to have a little chat about that.
Oh, we are.
Noted, unlimited, right? And obviously we always welcome the lines with open hearts as well. You guys always picking about somewhere. So yeah, we really, really love you and we're really, really grateful. And I've really, really got run.
Thank you so much. And I think,
Get my child.
thanks, Michelle. I think we can safely say that Melksham loves the Melksham Carnival.
Well, as long as Melksham does, then there will be one whilst there's a breath in my body.
See you later.
Thanks,
Bye, Michelle.
And so you should be proud.
Yes.
You really should.
You?
I do
So
that.
much love in the room. This is great. Okay, under community groups, is there anybody else here? Lions, did you want to give it? I mean, obviously, you've given your lovely bit in your video. Do you have anything to add to that, sir? Uh-huh.
I will. Apologies. Brace yourself, everybody. Thank you, Your Worship. Simon White from the Melksham Lions, President. I have to say, I've really impressed the video because they edited out the moment I was lost for words.
Really?
But, what? Yes.
Thank you, bye.
I froze for a minute. Anyway, the Melksham Lions would love to thank Melksham Town Council for the grant for repairing Melksham Christmas floats. 2 or 3 days before the carnival, I was coming down the farm track with the Christmas float, and the next thing we knew, the undercarriage gave way.
What about the float?
Both Manus and Davina, the reindeer, and Lawrence, my old Land Rover, were very sorry and sad that they wouldn't be in the carnival. And so was I, because seeing the kids' faces with Santa is something else. It brought a tear to my eye. It really did. In 1969, I came to Melksham. There is a party here, not too far from me, who once suggested that I was been here since Anglo-Saxon times. No names. But I came in 69, and in 74, the Lions were formed. And Melksham was very industrial at that time. There were only a few community groups in the town, but over the years, we have watched more and more and more community groups come to light. And as we've all been saying this evening, the community spirit in this town is something else. It really, really is. Through my job that I used to do, and through the Lions Club, I have seen so many people who have moved to Melksham, who have said what a lovely, lively, community-minded, and they love being here. They really do. So it is really nice. So I say to the gentleman who wrote in the Melksham News that Melksham It's not. There is, he said Melksham is, you can't make sales here. You can't do sales here, sorry. Sales here.
Let's say.
Still first. Well, I would say to that gentleman, Melksham is the silk purse in the 5 of the Wiltshire County towns. And I think I would say to him, the best thing he can do is up sticks and move. Because we are a brilliant town, have we? I've watched it over 52 years grow and grow and grow. It really, really is. Now, I do apologise for this because I'm going to get a plug in here. On the 18th of July this year, from 10 to 4, we are having the Lions Teddy Bears picnic in the forest. We have fantasy radio, many assorted charity and business stalls. The Macapello Choir are appearing. The Tiny Tots rugby team will be there. We have line dancers. We can all get involved and have a line dance. Sorry, I should have put the glasses on. There'll be competitions. Teddy bear for the kids. And some of you may remember Chuffy. We used to chuff around Christmas lights, do.
Chuffy the train.
Chuffy the train.
Chuffy the
He will be with us also, giving rides. Now, it is my intention to have a word with the Almighty to see that the rain and the weather will be kind to us. But I think we should all remember, as I have said around this table, that the rain that falls in July, August, September, and part of October is not as wet as the rain that falls the rest of the year. And as somebody who's worked outside all his life, I think there's a lot of truth in that. So the carnival is the same day. So come to Ardu with all your kids, home for tea, 6 o'clock down to the carnival. Finally, I could tell you that Manus and Davina are soon to have a name tag, because there's been a lot of confusion in the rutting season as to who does what. But I'm sure Davina will be very pleased to know that there will be no problem next year.
Good.
Now, I have probably convinced all of you that I am nutty as a fruitcake. I think the Lions Club already know that. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I also just say, I had 2 of the most fantastic days being with you guys over Christmas and fundraising. And someone you said, watching kids' faces when they see Santa and see the reindeers, truly was magical. And I absolutely loved it. And I would say to anybody who has some spare time over that Christmas period that can go and help the Lions just by doing a couple of hours outside of a supermarket, getting involved, it really is wonderful. We will have a fantastic time. So thank you for letting me come and spend some time. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for helping Sam and your donation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from the grants pieces with any further update? Yes, please.
So no, I think times, if it's okay, I'll give a quick presentation to go with minutes and just give you a very brief highlight. So across 2025, we've had over 100 club sessions run at the Campbell Centre across 3 different settings and different ages. We have had engagement with over 630 young people when we've done our detached, which is street-based. And I must say, we haven't had as many this year because you can imagine the weather and everything else. Your agents, and they are not that cool to send them out. And we've got in that report, you'll see a few of our ambitions and the things we hope to achieve in 2026 as well. As you may know, a big part of what we do is also counselling through Team Talk, which offers very early help, support and counselling and mental health support. And again, that's some, I think, personally, some really, really fantastic numbers across 2025. And I can't read my slide right now, but I know that 500 young people that have been helped in 2025. That is not just Melksham, we do also run Team Talk in Western and Chippenham, and we run online as well for young people who can't come to either of those 3 locations. And that's probably is me for now, unless anyone has any questions. But just to say, I haven't got quite the same passion as earlier, but to say, well, thank you. It really is a heartfelt thank you to all of you, either through funding or supporting us in any ways you do, because we just couldn't do what we do without it. So thank you for, I think, believing in us, also believing in the young people we serve.
Can I just say a massive thank you to the work that you guys do within the town and supporting our young people. I know sort of obviously from John's previous involvement, also my brother's girlfriend works with you guys as well. So I do hear very regularly the fantastic work you're doing. So it's hugely appreciated and thank you very much. Any more? Yes, please. I'll go to, and I'll come to you, Adrian.
It's fun. All I'm going to say is festival 5th and 6th of September. I've got 100 bookings already, so it's completely full. And I'm really, really sorry that I've got to go, but I've got to go and get the pickups for Melksham Food Library as well. So bye.
Thank you. Cheers, Adrian. So please go ahead.
Thank you. Kate Brooks from Age UK Melksham. Just to say thank you for your support. Melksham Town Council, along with Melksham Without Parish Council, supports our the Melksham Community Support Service for older people, and we offer a range of support with various issues, including helping to put money into people's pockets, helping people to stay independent at home, helping people to become more connected with the wonderful community here in Melksham, and the service goes from strength to strength. Thanks really to the support from Town and Without, but also our wonderful member of staff, Sarah, and our dedicated team of volunteers as well. And the other project which Town Council was supported with this year, you saw earlier on the video, the chaps in the library, so the Creative Conversations group, which is part of Celebrating Age Wiltshire. So they said it far better than I can, so I'll leave it there and say thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you again for all the work you do within the town as well. So before we let you get stuck into cake, does anybody else have anything? No, in that case, thank you everybody for coming along this evening. Thank you for the updates from the groups that we have given grants to our town councillors and to our Wiltshire councillors. And yeah, thank you very much and see you soon-ish time next time.
Young man.